Today, I have the wonderful Emma Bushell on the Awakened Feminine podcast. Emma is joining me all the way from England in the UK. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. We
Great
had
to be
some
here. Great to
technical
be here.
glitches before we hit record, so we'll see how we go. Seriously, I've never seen anything like it. So it was I think the energy is just like, yeah, is the energetics. So we're just really excited about how the video will turn out with our podcast. But Emma, before we get started, I would love for you to just do a quick introduction for our audience, so they know who you are and what you do.
Sure. Well, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. I'm Emma Bushell, and I am a soul-led, soul purpose leader, and very much with awakened women. So it's not at the initial stages of awakening. It's mainly when you've awoken. And it's the grappling of finding yourself within your resistance of energetics that you work through. What symptoms that presents itself with when you're awakening, because some of it can be really scary and fearful, and some of it can actually be quite pleasant.
Mm.
So it's the fluctuation of energies that I work with. And people come to me with these areas of really questioning where they are and what they're doing and how they're going to be once they've gone through this awakening process, which can take for some a long time, but for others it can take relatively shorter time. So I lead people through I call it resistance energies, to become in a calmer, more relaxed, flowful state, so that they can really fully accept more in a calm way their energy to receive what it's about and how it's playing out for them in their soul-led purpose of life.
Yeah.
And that's where I work with people to make sure they're basically guiding them through that process in all of the bumps and all of the loveliness of pathways that you have within an awakening.
Yes.
So it's quite a big job.
It is quite a big job, but you do it beautifully. I met
Thank
you
you.
because we met because I saw you flash up on my Facebook feed with one of something that you're doing. And I'm like, ooh, I need to do that. So I booked a session with you and I was like, wow, this woman is amazing. And here you're on my podcast. So yeah, the work that you do is much needed. And yeah, it's truly definitely soul led and you're very tapped in, to receive all the messages
Yeah,
that needs to come through.
thank you. I mean, my energetics, as we've experienced coming on here, is
Yes.
we've I read energy. I read, and I'm psychically drawn to where people are holding resistance, and knowing intrinsically how to clear it for somebody so that they can actually have a better ride of things in their human. When people struggle against an emotion, especially an awakening, they're really fighting against not feeling comfortable. And it's in your discomfort that a lot of people find me, because I'm able to psychically alchemize that energy to make it a little bit clearer and cleaner for them to be comfortable in.
Mm.
So I have that ability to do that with spirit, and I'm guided quickly to clear it.
Seriously, Emma, I don't know what is happening with you on. I've got this weird thing at the back of my head. Like I just feel this energy at the back of my head. And I'm like, okay. Usually like when I talk to guests, I'm like, oh, I'm getting full body goosebumps and that's kind of normal. But like I'm just like getting some weird thing at the back of my head. I'm like, this is a bit different.
Yeah,
So
that's more about your beautiful guides that are around you, honey.
mm. So Emma, before
Being
we
playful.
dive in even more with our conversation, I would love for you to answer this question for me first, which is, what is your definition of an awakened feminine?
Oh my word. Awakened has so many levels and it is a process. And it really is about becoming more aware, the heightened level of awareness to your way that you've been operating in radically changes. And it forces you to look within because all that you knew in front of you isn't the same. And that can be from an experience that's been very traumatic, a change or a massive global event like we've just had and still are going through. Or it can just be a slow, gradual realization that actually you've outgrown situations and experiences with other people and environments because you just don't resonate with them anymore. And it can hit you like that. It doesn't have to be so traumatic. And the awakened feminine is more about finding out who you are as your soul being. So your soul knows, but to have your awakening, your soul knew that it was ready to awaken, right?
Mm,
This is where I sit.
yeah.
And it's really then finding as a human your place within the world that you're in or your environment that you're in that's already been built up, like your family, whatever, and finding your place to be with that level of awareness that has totally changed.
Mm, yeah. That's beautiful
Um,
definition. Yes.
yeah, finding your beauty within it rather than always being a fight.
Mm, yes. I know the fight. I have experienced the fighting.
Yeah,
Um,
very normal.
yes.
A
Yeah.
lot of women, a lot of people, not just women,
Yeah.
men have too.
Yeah. And just like kicking and screaming, going, no, 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 no. And then you just kind of go, all right, fine. Just go with whatever I'm meant to be
Yeah,
going with.
I
Yeah.
I call that being soul tired.
Mm.
It's like almost like you've gone through so much without being too heavy sufferance
Mm.
of resisting the new way of looking at things that you've been so knackered with your soul that you've almost gone, all right then, I'm done.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Just
And
like,
it's really finding the beauty of that, just
love
relaxing into the fight. Oh,
it. Yes, like what I was telling you about what I'm going into this year, and I mean, like fighting it for like months, getting the same answer, and finally I'm like, fine, just do it.
yeah, yeah. And what's happened since, you know?
Yeah. Well, now it's like, all right, just going deep into learning what I need to learn so that I can actually bring it to life. But yes, still very,
Amazing.
yeah. I want to ask you, um, can you give us a bit about your awakening? Because,
Oh,
oh, yeah, did
yeah, no,
you,
big time.
yeah. Were you always connected, or was there a point when that happened? And yeah, can you talk a bit about that? Because I'm just so interested to know your story.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I would say I probably had about 8 awakenings. And what I mean by that is, um, it's really about your alignment in this. Now, mine has been this fighting situation in my awakenings because I wasn't ready to be leading with this. and I had to be in the experience of my human to gather all of the skills and knowledge and experience that I bring to be able to know in all levels of dark energy and light energy that I talk about, of how I can then really fully hold the space and on a mass level space of healing with others, because I've done it. So my experience started very, very naively and beautifully as a child with spirit. For as long as I remember, I don't know what age, but it's very young, from about 5 up. I was always with spirit.
Mm.
And I just thought this was very normal and beautiful. And really, I didn't sleep a lot at night because that's when they come.
Mm. So were
So
you
I
very
was quite
tired as a
sleep
child?
deprived child. But I just thought it was really normal to have conversation and actually have conversations and prayers with God as a child. It was very normal for me to do that.
Yeah.
And the essence of that total belief as a child was in its fullest, purest intention.
Mm.
So I found that things happened for me because I really prayed, and I asked and I received. It really was like that as a child with me. The difficulty I had then was because I'm also a creative and I create a lot in my work visually. I wanted to share this with the most dearest of my beings, which is my family. And the response was very much shutting it down. You've got too big an imagination. What are you talking about? To me feeling very, very, very isolated, really young. And I had this wondrous, lovely experience of spirit that was then became my own. I didn't talk about it because I couldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
And I just went on having a lovely relationship with spirit. But then the fear of that not fitting in with my family, of a belief that I shouldn't be talking to spirit, right?
Yeah.
Really grew and built up as an illusion in my mind as a very young child, because we're talking really young. And the fear outgrew the light for me. And I shut it off. And the alignment then comes into play. So my journey through life has been very much on a creative level, but I've always woven holistic learning in my evening work, or my capability to learn after my work.
Yeah.
I've done that all the way through my life. I've always been learning something to make sure I'm connected.
Yes.
But in my day job, I wasn't. So there's the light and the dark of separation almost, in an energetics I'm talking, where you have this separateness. And for years I was like that, and it was very normal. But with that became awakenings to spirit wanting me to push forward with things more and more. So it's really managing that in your life and being able to earn from something that is spiritual as well came into that.
Yeah.
Still not speaking about it either.
Yeah. So can I ask you just quickly before you go on? So when you said you shut it down. So did you lose your connection with spirit? Or when you say shut it down, what did you mean by that?
Yeah, I stopped it. And it was glimpses then in my work that I then did as self-development. For example, I set up a business in my early 20s as a holistic therapist with holistic massage. This was way before the Reiki days.
Yeah.
And I was finding that I was having massive spiritual downloads of energy for my clients.
Yeah.
As I was massaging.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, it was just like, oh my God, what do I do with this? It's so strong. And it was harnessing that to be able to go and find someone to help me with it. In those days, and I'm not that old, but it wasn't like it is now.
Yeah.
There wasn't any sanctuary for talking about this stuff. Like so much of this isn't talked about fully mainstream now.
Yeah.
It was pretty non-existent, and the only thing that you found was connected to the church.
Oh.
I found.
Which probably doesn't quite fit in with what you do.
No, but it was more about my spiritual connection and what was going on.
Yeah.
And how could I manage it? Because it was really strong.
Yeah. So when you shut it down, did it come back online when you started doing your holistic therapies, or like?
Oh, yeah.
How did? Yeah.
It was in the moment of my work. Rather than me talking to spirit a lot.
Okay.
It became very much like when I did the act of what I did as a therapeutic exercise and beautiful treatment, it would be full on. And then it would come off.
Yes, that's what I wanted to get at. So when did it come back on for you to communicate with spirit? Like,
well, unfortunately, I've been in this state of awakenings in fight mode. Because I didn't want to really honor, if I'm being really honest, honor my true soul's purpose of being here. Because I thought, how could I do that in my setup with what I was in? So I got married, and I still wove my spiritual business on the side, but I still couldn't talk about it because I wasn't able to bring that into my marriage.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't be the person that I wasn't. The should be's and the care, the dutifuls and the pleasings and the being there for everyone but no one for yourself kind of woman.
Yes.
Yeah. And I just thought, you know what? I've got to get out of this. And I divorced my husband. Not wanting to, but knowing I had to, actually, for me.
Yes.
I couldn't go around like that anymore. And it was the biggest shock to my family because the Emma that they knew, because it was like an illusion for them because I hadn't talked about all of this stuff. They knew I was spiritual, but they were just like, oh, that's Emma.
Yeah.
It's very passed off. Was like, oh my God, how could Emma actually ever do that?
Yeah.
So it's breaking the silence, dispersed the illusion of what you're actually holding in your life, of not really fully fulfilling yourself.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, and loving you at all of this. to
Mm.
be able to live with that truly.
Yeah. It's really about accepting yourself for who you are.
But it was everyone, it was interwoven. I mean, when
Yeah.
people say when you spiritually awaken, you fall out with your mate or whatever. I mean, this is like my whole family
Yeah.
network.
Yeah. So tell me, like, so then what happened? So you got a divorce. Were you able to then speak up about it, or how long did it take you to go, right, this is me. This is, I mean, because obviously now the Emma that I know, you just talk about it
Yeah,
like normal. Like,
huge,
how
right?
long was the gap between you like going, I can't do this anymore, divorcing your husband, to like really just going, this is me, this is all of me, and you take it or leave it?
Um, well, unfortunately, what's happened since is that I don't I didn't speak to my family in
Oh,
that period. So my connection, I severed it
yeah.
because it wasn't for my highest good at all.
Mm,
Um, and um, I then probably within 3 years. So when was COVID? 2021,
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
It was probably the end of 2019. I divorced my husband in 2018.
Mm,
And
yeah.
unfortunately, or, I can say that that happened. And I've also gone through some of those people in my family who have passed,
Yeah.
including my husband,
Oh,
ex-husband. Yeah. And that was major as well because it was almost like cementing the end of things. But I've awoken
yes.
and I'm free to speak.
Mm, wow. That's
Yeah.
major stuff. Major events that you had to go through.
And
Yeah.
then we had COVID, so it gave really downtime on my other business because I run another business as well as my
Mm,
spiritual business, and really just learning as much as I could in the positive time that we had, even though it was very difficult.
mm,
I made sure that I made sure of the time we had because we're never going to get it back,
yeah.
and really put that impact to the now of
Mm,
where I sit to be able to talk freely
yeah.
about other women's awakenings and supporting their resistance in all ways with energy
Mm,
and really getting them on track
yeah.
with their purpose.
Yeah. What were some of the healing tools or modalities, or things that you did that really helped you to kind of move forward and heal and, yeah,
Oh
get
my
through?
goodness. Okay, so I, all the way through COVID, I volunteered to read tarot for a very big company in Australia, actually, that was is global. And I read for free all the way through COVID for
Oh,
people
wow.
struggling.
Mm,
Um, so I read tarot for them all the way through COVID until I came back to work because my business was shut down.
mm,
And I then started to do mindset work. So I started with my mind, which was I became qualified as a coach of NLP on
mm,
neuro linguistic programming as a practitioner.
yeah.
Um, just to harness myself in my own way of thinking and my own self-talk.
Mm,
I try it always on myself first,
yes.
like we do.
Yeah.
And then I found that to be very masculine, very mechanical, very structured, and it stopped actually my flow of channeling. It
Oh,
stopped
wow.
my flow of connection. And I thought, gosh, I can use these modalities, but yet I found that the channel that I was in, it was too structured for me.
Mm,
But you take those bits of it, right?
mm,
I then went on to do a practitioner level in Reiki.
yeah.
So I'm now a practitioner of that. But with that, I've now created my own modality of healing
Mm,
within that space of energetics. I've always sat in that space.
yeah.
So I went on to do that to then create. Source has created this amazing modality that I use now on women that come to me, called Sacred Heart Attunements.
Mm,
So I concentrate on your energetics of your heart almost,
wow.
um, within that modality. And then I went on to do the subconscious work with a well-known leader of heart healing.
Mm,
And I completed that with her to do subconscious work, which is ancestral, generational
mm,
patterning,
yeah.
all of
Mm,
the things,
yeah.
visibility, you name it.
Yeah.
And then I've done a lot of energetics work and connections to spirit with a well-known spiritual leader, that really just, she was the woman I needed when I found the church.
Ah.
All these years later. But funnily enough, our stories are, she also went to find it at the church,
Oh, wow. Don't you
but
love
she
the
didn't get anywhere.
synchronicities? Yeah.
And that is amazing because we both had that conversation about what was around, and there was nothing around. But when you're actually in this fray of what is going on, I've got to go and see somebody. Yeah. Um, that was it.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how that person I've met all this time later was going through the same thing.
Yeah. I love it.
And she now leads with connecting to spirit
Yeah.
properly.
Yes. I love it. I mean, now there are so many amazing teachers and healers and people that can help. Um, yeah, definitely. I mean, my proper awakening, I guess, started in 2020. Um, I was, it was like what you're saying before. Sometimes it's like for some people it's slow and some people it's like quite quick. Mine was over a period, and then like 2020 was just like boom, like just bring everything on. So,
Yeah.
but even when I started my awakening, there was so many people out there already, but since then it's just like there's like so many. Also, there's a need for discerning which one who is genuine as well, I think,
Yeah.
and actually do know their stuff. Yeah.
The good thing is, right, the good thing that I take from that
Mm.
is that people can talk about it.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, look at this situation here
Yeah.
we're doing right now.
Yeah.
There's all of these people out there doing, saying and doing, but you know what? Some of that I just think, thank God they're saying about it.
Mm.
Because the need to connect with some, I wish that that was there when I was looking, because
Mm.
that wasn't, this wasn't
Yeah.
birth. The internet wasn't birth. So actually, yeah, will always have I call them the dark energetics, right? You
Mm.
will always have the discernment of people that goes against the integrity of spirit. And that is very unfortunate. That is part of living on earth. In the world,
Yeah.
people's have their motives and agendas, right? So
Yes.
um the The surety is the fact that there is a place that people can find something to help them
Yeah.
because people are talking about it.
Yes. And I think I also find that, sometimes you might not pick the right person for you, but you learn the lesson from that. And then you end up finding the person that you're meant to, be. You probably had to see that go to the wrong, so-called wrong person to find the right person. But really, that
Yeah.
wrong person was the right person anyway.
Yeah, that's just life. It can happen anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just part of your radar.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, you get to know about it, right?
yeah. I wanted to ask you this question came up like early in the piece when you were talking about what you do, and you work with women that have already awakened, not at the beginning of their awakening. Can you unpack a bit why you only work with women who have awakened and not at the beginning stages?
It's the awoken woman. It's the woman that's just started to become aware of. Because I have people in my group that are observers. They're the
Ah,
curious because they have awoken, but they're just trying to figure it out.
mm,
And they just need to connect. Like
yeah,
we talked about before, finding a place to connect and talk about what they're going through and what they're feeling.
yeah,
Um, I normally find those women are there. They're always there. They might not speak, but they're always there. And they have awoken, and but they need somewhere to go
yeah,
until they're ready to go. Yeah, do you know what? I need this from, may not be me, it may be another person that they need to connect with first. It's a journey, right?
yeah,
But they're with you because they resonate, and until they're ready and you offer that service for them, they go, yeah, I'm ready to deal with this now. It's more about the disorientation that you go through. It's
mm,
very unsettling for a lot of women.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, and that's why I think it's really crucial to say that there are always places you can observe before
yes,
you're ready to go into your own healing.
yeah,
Because you can self heal a lot by observing, just by feeling like you're not on your own in it.
mm,
That is huge
yes,
for a lot of us.
yes. Because it does get really lonely, and you think that you're the only person in the whole world going through it when there are many, many people that are feeling exactly the same way as you.
Yeah, and it's finding those places. My mission really is to make it more accessible for people to find you,
Mm,
funny enough, because that really was a massive part of me struggling with my awakening on my own,
yeah,
not finding a place to be in it.
yeah,
It's making that more visible for access for people that just haven't found the right people.
mm. I just love how your story is like a full circle where you started and you're like, there's no one. And now you're being the leader that you didn't have. So you're kind of
I know.
like
Can you
back at
believe
the
that?
beginning. You're back at the beginning, but you're the leader that you were looking for. So I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, isn't
Yeah,
it? Isn't it ironic?
yeah. But it's it's beautiful. It's just and I loved how we started it and then ended it right here. And I think is a I'm just looking at the time as well. It was just like perfect
Yeah.
timing that we just ended up with that last part. Emma, thank you so much for sharing
Oh,
your
you're
love and
very
wisdom
welcome.
with us today.
Thank
It was just
you.
such a fun conversation and just learning about your journey and, all the things that you've had to go through to become the leader that you are today. For the women that were like, are like you when you started. I'm like trying to yeah.
I know. I
Yeah.
know.
So before we wrap
Thank
up,
you. No,
I wanted to
you're
ask you, is
welcome.
there anything else that you want to share with our audience? Like any last words that you want them to take away?
Yeah, I think it's the fact that you don't have to do this on your own
Yeah.
because it can make it go into areas that it didn't start off with.
Mm,
And you don't need to go those places
yeah.
because it is very accessible to access not being on your own in an awakening. And
Thank you.
that's really key.
Yes, very, very important. So thank you for that. And lastly, what is currently setting your soul on fire?
Speaking of truth,
Yeah.
hearing other women speaking their truth,
Mm,
um,
yeah.
that have a lot to say, and they are very much will lead the way in their work because of it.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Thank you, Emma. And if people want to find out more about you or how they can work with you, or just, simply just to connect with you, where's the best place to go?
So I've been currently having a brand new membership offerings platform built. So this is only newly built from the end of last year.
Mm,
So it's being added to as we're talking with my offerings, but it's on Podia. I need to give you a link.
yes, you can give it to me and I
Um,
can just put it in the show notes.
yeah,
Yeah.
my name, Emma Bull, and it's a platform where you can find me and connect with me. I do monthly Sacred Heart attunements in a very lovely, beautiful space of energetics in a group.
Mm,
Um, and they are themed every month to give accessibility for people needing a place of healing.
mm,
Um, and they are very current with what you're going through on a resistance level, but also on a soul purpose level of really looking ahead at
yeah.
where you can be with your awakening as well. It's not all about um the horrible stuff. It's about where you're going to go with this,
Mm,
because that really drives you out with your passion, you know.
yeah.
So that platform's there. I do offerings of readings, soul purpose readings, akashics,
Yeah.
all sorts, and one-to-ones. They're all there.
Yeah. Amazing. I'll have all your details in the show notes so
Yeah,
people
thank
can reach
you.
out to you. Thank you so much, Emma. And we made it
Thank
through with
you.
no glitches.
And how's your spirit guides now?
Yeah, they kind of settled down after probably the first 10, 15 minutes.
Lovely.
Thank you
Oh,
so much, Emma.
yeah, you're welcome. Really lovely to connect with you and everybody listening.